Hi, we're going to take a look at some of the Boston City data, and this is the site, and if we go there and explore the data, we can find this data here, which is the earnings of all the Boston City employees 2016. So that's our ultimate goal, is to be able to rip through this data and make sense of it. Okay. So we're going to start off first. Let's go to courses at CCHS, and we're going to take a look. So these are the files I'm giving you. I'm giving you the full Boston City data, also a small subsection of that so we can develop an understanding of the structure. And so let's take a look. First, we're going to go through read 0, read 1, read 2, read 3, and then we're going to move on to some other tests that are going to be using web servers. So let's take a look first at how we pick up a simple file. So I'm going to use my I'm just going to bring up a command window here just because it'll make it easier. So I'm bringing up a command window that I can just look at the files. So let's cat the contact.json file here. So this is a local file, and I want to pick it up in using some JavaScript. Okay, so that's our first thing. And we'll talk about the structure of this file, this JSON file. It's quite simple. We have some objects in it, and we have some arrays. So when we see curly brackets like this, they're objects, and when we see square brackets, they're arrays. Okay, so let's take a look at read 0. So what this does is we just have here, we declare a variable, and we require that we pick up a local file. So the / says that it's in the same directory, and it's contact.json. Okay, and that's the same as that. So we're going to pick it up, and then we're just going to write it out to the console. Now to do this, we're going to use Node. So let me just clear this, and Node is already loaded, and Node now can interpret commands. So I can do 8 + 7, and sorry, I hit the wrong one. I can do 8 + 7, and it's 15. Okay, so let me clear that, and we're just going to run node read0.js, and it picks up the file and writes it out for us. So that's the way that we can pick up and pull into our code JSON files. Okay, so let's take a look now at the second exercise here. So read1.js does the same thing, but we pick up now the Boston small data. So this is the Boston City data, but I'm just getting a small subset. And so now this pulls it into memory as an object, and I happen to know that there's a property in that object called data, and I'm setting a variable list equal to that data. And now what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to filter, and I happen to know that this list is an array. I'm going to filter that and do this check. I'm going to check on anything that in there in row 18 So the 18th, we pick out a row and we get the 18th column, and we check to see if it's greater than or equal to 100,000. If it is, we'll list it. So let's take a look at running that. So we run node read1.js, and it picks out a few teachers. Well, there's this one's a teacher, and this one's a police officer, and this one's another teacher, and another teacher, and a firefighter. Okay, so that's the way we can filter data. So we now understand, or we will understand, this Boston City data. Let's have a look now at so now what we're going to do is we're going to get this data by using something called HTTP. So we're going to access this data from a web server that I'm going to set up, and that's going to be run on localhost. So let me set up a web server here. So I'm going to, again, I'm going to get another command window, and I'm going to set up a server, and it's as simple as setting up HTTP server. And here it is, it's running on port 8080 of this machine, and here's the IP address if we wanted to hit it via the IP address, but because it's on my server, it can also be accessed by localhost. Okay, so that server is running. Now what this means is, let me bring up a browser. So if I bring up a browser here, and we don't want that, we want localhost 8080. Maybe I'm running it already. So let me type in localhost 8080, and you'll see that it gives us a list of the files. So this is a web server now, and if I click on the boston.small, it'll actually get us that file. Now what we're going to do is, instead of doing it with the browser, we're going to do it via Node. So let me go back to my command and bring up here another so here I am, and now I'm going to do node. Now read, let me just make sure, cat read 3.js. Yep, this is doing it. Let me do cat read 2.js, and that also is bringing, that's going to hit the local server. So let's do cat, let me clear. So node read 2.js brings back all the data. Now what I'd like to do is to filter that data. So we saw how to filter it. So can you change read 2 so that it will filter the data?